The next one then, or the next kind of key section, is on the European Union. Okay, so the European Union. So there again, as I said to you, there are two questions on the European Union that you have to do. The first one is on political and socio-economic developments of the Union over time. Now, as you can see, I'm just going to go through the couple of different countries and that they've joined there that you can see first of all on the actual screen. So the European Union was set up originally in 1957. It was like the European Coal and Steel Community. The six key, I suppose, members at the very start were, as I call it, the three big ones and the three small ones. So the three big ones were France and Germany and Italy, and the three small ones there were Belgium, Netherlands and Luxembourg. Now Denmark there is in the same colour, but it should actually be, that's a mistake, it should actually be in the same blue colour as that of Ireland and the UK. So that was 1957 after the Treaty of Rome. Then subsequently after that in 1973, Ireland and the UK and Denmark joined the European Union. Then in 1981, Greece joined the European Union. Then you had, I suppose, a kind of an Iberian extension where Spain and Portugal in 1986 joined the European Union. Then in 1990 you had the reunification of Germany, which brought another 17 million people into the Union. Then you had Austria, Sweden and Finland came in 1995. And then the biggest expansion of all came in 2004 when all those countries you can see there in a kind of a purpley colour, and they all joined from Eastern Europe. And I think Cyprus and Malta were the other two countries that joined in that group as well. Just to let you know that Romania and Bulgaria there, they didn't get to join until 2007. Okay, and I noticed the last tranche of €500 million that was sent to Bulgaria was stopped simply because Bulgarian politicians have been siphoning off the money. So as a result of that, there's a little bit of tension there between the EU and Bulgaria. Not that there isn't a bit of tension from the likes of Ireland, Greece, Spain and Portugal at the moment also, but obviously these are these things tend to arise from time to time associated with Europe. So again, so that's effectively the political expansion of it. So we're just going to go down to the question now. Again, as I said on the forum, please ask if you have any questions on that as we go through it. So first of all, so the sample model answer, the development of economic, social and political European integration has been one of the greatest success stories of all time. The original idea of setting up the European Union by Schuman and Monnet, the two people who were, I suppose, the cut and thrust of who brought this whole thing together. And the idea behind it was that they set up a coal and steel community. And and some people are kind of asking, well, why would you bother setting up a coal and steel community? Why would that matter? Well, if you know anything about war, you'd know that you have to have coal and steel to create an army. So if you want to build tanks and aeroplanes and everything like that, you need massive amounts of heat to smelt the iron ore, to produce the steel, to make the likes of submarine ships, etc., etc. So therefore, by sharing the coal and the steel, and by creating links and relationships between predominantly France and Germany, it decreased significantly the chance of wars in the future. So, and it has been very, very successful in that, because everyone that had joined the European Union, there has been no wars between any countries in the European Union since World War II. And I know that might seem kind of, the run of the mill to you, but it actually isn't. Normally tensions can be created very, very quickly as a result of destabilizing countries. So, so that was the original cut and thrust in 1957. What's the European Union today? There's over 500 million people in it, which is massive, and it is the strongest, biggest powerhouse economically in the world today at the moment. So what are the political developments? So just going down through the points now. So the first one is, after World War II, the economies of most countries in Europe were devastated. And it was the vision of Schuman and Monnet were instrumental in driving forward the idea or process of European integration. So they formed the European Coal and Steel Community. This led to underline the Treaty of Rome in 1957. And from these initial developments, you have the world's largest trading bloc with over 27 countries and nearly 500 million people. So underline then there's 7 key stages of enlargement, and just underline them as you go through them. 1957, 6 original members. Remember the 3 big ones and the 3 small ones. So Germany, France, Italy, and then Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg are what we refer to as the Benelux countries. Then underline 1973, westward enlargement, Ireland, Great Britain, and Denmark. The next stage underline 1981 was Greece, and also 1986 was Spain and Portugal, so underline them. Next one, 1990, reunification of Germany. The next one, 1995, underline Sweden, Finland and Austria joined the European Union. In 2004, the largest single expansion took place, and again, they were all the countries from Eastern Europe. And make sure you know a few of them, by the way. You'll be amazed how many students don't actually know what countries from Eastern Europe came into the European Union. So be aware of a few of them. Next one, in 2007, then you had Bulgaria and Romania. And I want you to flick on now to page 8 for me, please. And just to be aware that there are obviously other countries who are looking to get into the European Union at the moment. Turkey has been applying for a long time now and still looking to get into the European Union. And if you look there at the map, you'll see that there a lot of those countries that were in what we call the former Yugoslavia are now entering the European Union. Now, one of the key questions I always get asked by students is that why do Norway and Switzerland not join the European Union? And there's one key reason for each. Norway won't join the European Union because they would have to give away their fishing rights to other European Union countries and share out the fish. Now, the fact that about 30% of Norway's wealth is generated by fishing would indicate that it can be that they're not willing to share that with all the rest in Europe. Also, Switzerland won't join the European Union because they would have to declare anything legally that is in their Swiss bank accounts and their safety deposit boxes. So obviously they make a lot of money from this, and therefore they're not willing to join. Now, they have what's called associate membership. So they're part of the gang, but they're not really the gang, if that makes sense. But obviously they're two very, very wealthy countries, so they possibly don't feel the need to take part fully in the European Union. Now, obviously the European Union has changed. At the top you can see went from a Europe of war to a Europe of peace, where the ballot box took over from the idea of the tank. So looking down then at socio-economic developments, the European Coal and Steel Community set up in 1951, obviously this brought the whole idea of coal and steel together. The Treaty of Rome 1957 opened up, underlined the first common market. So that first common market then, there was 6 members there, and they also created what was known as Euratom, which was basically the Euratom was the European nuclear industry. And as you know, most countries of Europe, the big countries, tend to generate most of their electricity by nuclear power. Then, so that's the two of them. 1962, the EEC introduced a common agricultural policy. Again, we've spoken about that already, and we will be speaking about it again. So that was there to increase the standard of living for farmers, and also to increase standards within the agricultural sector. Not that horse burgers at the moment would have anything to do with it, by the way, but at the same time, the idea is to standardise and increase safety limits within meat and other dairy products. 1974. Excuse me, the regional development fund was set up, and the function of the regional development fund was basically to provide money for poorer countries. The Single European Act was brought into being in 1987, and this meant that European law took over as supreme law from all other national law. So it meant that European law was more important than Irish law. And every other country the same thing. The next thing, the Maastricht Treaty in 1993 enhanced social and economic policy. The Amsterdam Treaty in 1997 saw the introduction of the single European currency, or the euro, in 1999. And there was a shift from 12 to 15 member states. Now I want you to flick over then to page 9. No, I just want, so that finishes up the bit on the social and economic developments. Now, we're just, one question I want to have, just to give you a little question to think about over the break for me, okay? Worth the thought. At the moment, as you know, Britain and the European Union, basically there's a little bit of tension there that the British might want to take a step back from the European Union. So have a look at that message there that I leave on screen and think about it for a second and come back to me. And I want you to come back onto the forum and tell me what you think, okay? We'll take a break there now.